Hi folks, I'm back, Speedway Tag here. I know I've had a little bit of a layoff for a while, but I'm back reviewing a couple of games that I really like. A solo one today, and it's the third game in the series. I think they call the Harvest series or something like that. This is Forage. They're completely solo only games. The others are, as you can see here, Orchard and Grove. I love these games. They're by Mike Tuck and published by Side Room Games. I've done videos for these two. Forage is a great little addition into the series. So let's have a look now and see how it plays. By the way, I've got my purple Pac-Man ghost, whose name I think is Sue, to help me out here. And so here is Forage. It comes with fantastic little custom dice. And with the others, the pips on the dice are a little bit different. And with this one, it reverts back to the old system that was established in Orchard. So it goes from 1 to 3 to 6 to 10. Love that. And then to a huge basket for 15. And there's also a deadly little -2 mouse on this dice as well. And so in 3 different colors, matching the 3 themes in the game, which as you can see on the cards are blackberries, mushrooms, and chestnuts. So orange, green, and brown matches the die there. We've also got Edward Mouse here, which will come into play. It's a fantastic looking little meeple. There's our rule book. Beautiful, beautiful components. The cards feel really nice as they do in all the series. There's only 18 cards, and all of them are split into a 6-area grid like that. And really to play, you only have to deal yourself 9. So you only need 9 cards for this solo game. And so I've put 1 in the middle, I've dealt myself 2. The rest of them, what's that? 9 minus 3, 6. There's 6 cards sitting there for the rest of the game. And these 9 are over here waiting for the next game. And then it's basically a shoot for your highest score here with this solo game. And if you get tired of doing that, you'll notice on the backs of these cards are the recipe challenges. Okay, so what you would do if you wanted to play with these, what that allows you to do is shoot for a particular score to win. So you draw 2 of these cards. Let's say I draw those 2. You draw 2 of them. You add the totals at the top together. So I'm shooting for a score of 42 in this game. They're cute little recipes, all of them. Each one gives you a little special ability, not ability, actually a bonus to shoot for. So on Grandmas, if you get all 15 dice in play, you get a bonus 5 with chestnut flour. If you get all 5 chestnut dice, which are the yellow ones, in play, you get another 5 points. So the recipes give you a score to try and beat, which is usually pretty high and difficult. So that's why you get these little bonuses if you can meet the requirements on these. So every single card in this game has got a recipe on the back. So Sprawlopolis style, if you're into the button shy games, you know, those special requirements and it gives you a lot of variety as to how each game will play out and what you're shooting for each time. So, but the game plays, the mechanics are very much the same as Grove and Orchard. So I have done videos for those if you want to go and have a look at those. Knock yourself out there. But I'll just quickly show you how the mechanism of this game works. And what we're trying to do is, with the cards in our hand, we're trying to cover the cards in the tableau, and we're trying to match them. Okay, so really the rule is green on green, yellow on yellow, and brown on brown. If you don't do that, you're gonna cop a negative mouse, right, on that section of the forest. So what we're trying to do here, first of all, let's take maybe, I don't know, let's take this card. Let's take this one, I think. Maybe this one. I'm trying to work out the best way to place it here to try and maximize my points. So yes, let's do this one. Okay. So this is how the placement works. You have to place on top of a card that's already in the tableau, and if you just want to place, you've got to place it on at least one square. So if I wanted to make a ridiculous move like that, which would get me hardly any points, that's still legal because I'm placing on at least one square. But really the idea, as you've probably worked out already if you've never seen these games before, the idea is to try and match as many as you can as you go, because that's how you're going to get your most points. So for example, if I came along and I should mention that one major difference in Forage compared to Grove and Orchard are these split areas, which have got two different colors. Okay, and so they can actually go on either of one of those colors, but you miss out on the points by doing that. But at least it gives you a little bit of flexibility, much like the empty glades in Grove. This gives you a little bit of flexibility. But let's just say I place this card like that. Okay, let's say I place that card like that. Okay, so what's happening there? That chestnut is matching that chestnut, so I get to put the lowest level of die on there, right? That's gonna sit there. This mushroom is matching this mushroom, so again, I'll take the brown die because that's the mushroom die, and that would go there. What's underneath here? Okay, what's happening here is I'm putting a blackberry on this space, which is a split, but because it's got green, I'm allowed to do that. So I will put one on the blackberry as well. And last of all, I'm putting this space on top of that mushroom, which I can because it's brown on brown. But when you place a split space, you don't get to score it. Right? I can't put a die on there because there's no food on the top. It's just a split space. So that, like a glade, it kind of allows you to place legally, but you don't get any scoring benefit for it. So after I place that card, that's what would happen. I'd place a die on any card that I match properly that's got food on top, and it's a 1, 1, and 1. Okay, nothing here. And then I'd draw another card and keep going. So maybe the next thing I'd like to do, look at my cards here. Maybe the next thing I'd like to do is go like that. Okay. Now, the minute you cover a spot that's already got a dice and you're covering it with something that's got food on it, the dice will translate to the next level. So, for example, if I do that, I'm putting food on a die, that die will move to 3. I'm also getting this brown section, this mushroom on this section, which has got a die on it already, so that'll go to 3 as well. And am I going to get this one too? Yes, I'm going to get this one as well. Okay, I'm going to get this one done. So that'll be really good. So this die moves to 3 as well. So, and then I'm also going to be putting this section with food on it onto a split section. And because there's food on it, then I can place a die. So let's try and do that now. It gets a little bit tricky trying to get these on here. But that's going to go to 3. That's going to go to 3. That one's going to go to 3. This is where it gets a little bit fiddly. Now see, that'll sit there. Even more fiddly when you're doing it with one hand. That'll sit like that. And then I need a 1 to go on there. So automatically, okay, I've got 10 points so far. And then I draw another card and my hand goes up to 2. Maybe the next thing I might do is place there. Okay, so in that way, that blackberry will match here, and this will move up to 6. Okay, this mushroom. Oh, I don't know if I really want to do that, but let's see if I did. Yeah, this mushroom would go on here, so I'd get a 1. But this is a good example as to what happens if you're forced or you want to mismatch a section, because what's going to happen here is I'm going to place this chestnut on this blackberry, and that's not the best thing to do, but sometimes you just got to do it. Sometimes you just got to take the hit. So the 3 moves up to a 6. This 1 actually stays 1 because I'm only placing a split section. I'm not placing any more food. Okay, this mushroom's going up to 1 because I've placed 1 food on another food, and it's correct. But these 2 sections are not matching. So I take a yellow mouse because I'm placing a yellow section, and I'm placing the yellow mouse there. So what that really means is I'm willing to take the -2 point hit because I like what's happened with the other matching sections, and so on. And then I'd take another card, and you keep going like this. This is different to Grove and Orchard in that you've got a -2 mouse on every dice. So effectively, you've almost got an unlimited amount of opportunities to mismatch. Now you're taking a -2 points every time that happens, but you know, at least you've got that flexibility to think, you know, I'll gain 15 points by placing this. I'll take the -2 as well. So I like that flexibility that there's a mismatch on every dice. So you've effectively got, I don't know, what is it, 10 or 15 opportunities to do that. In Grove, you only had one. In Orchard, I think it was 2 or 3, probably 2. I think the rotten fruit baskets. But here there's a -2 mouse on every dice, so you've got that opportunity to mismatch if it works. Now, normally when there's a -2 mouse dice placed, you can never play on top of that ever again. But you do get Edward Mouse. Okay, Edward Mouse is this delightful little meeple, which allows you once in the game to overlay on a -2 mouse. Like if I came along and did that on that mouse, that would disappear, and I would put Edward on there instead. You can do that once in the game. He becomes a -5. Now you think, oh, why on earth would I want to get even more of a negative by doing that? It's because if the matches you do around here are going to get you a stack of points, you might be willing to say, oh, look, I'll take the -5 with Edward because these are going to get me. In this case, they're not going to get me anything. But if they did, it might be worth playing your Edward Mouse. And you keep going until all your cards are played. And there's plenty of dice here to keep placing. It's great when you can get to the 15 basket. Okay, and in the rule book says here when you're finished, those are the scoring conditions. And yeah, I'm still stuck around about the 40s. It's very difficult to get a good high score on this, but the challenge is super fun. And to be honest, I haven't really been playing with the recipes, which are on the back of the cards to give you an extra motivation to score. I'm just happy trying to hit my highest score. But eventually, I think I'm going to move into the realm of the recipes and just to change it up a bit. But yeah, you just keep placing cards here. The basic rule is if you match and there's a die there already, you increase the die. If you don't match, you put a mouse. And the split squares are important. If you put a split square on a die, the dice doesn't move, and so on. So the split squares don't get you any points, but it does give you a little bit of flexibility. So that is Forage. It's, in terms of a solo game, it is delightful with a cup of tea and not many sugars for me anymore. It is delightful to sit down with a cup of tea and play little solo games like this. And I guarantee you, once your first one finishes, you'll launch straight into the next one. And before you know it, you've played 10 games. So Forage is fantastic. Grove and Orchard are also fantastic. This is a great little line of games. I hope you enjoy that. And it's still readily available. So good luck. Hope you can find it if you like the look of it.